both of the bars. See what As I mentioned in the last video, a lot of the guys now at the gym are going to purchase their own equipment for the other basements of their garages. They're becoming more serious, and the gym just has junk. You know, it's just got these CrossFit bars and a lot of the Select Rise equipment. It's nothing more than you would buy at a sporting goods store. It's got, you know, plastic pulleys and so I was surprised that there were so many guys that were going out. So some questions came up about knurling and power bars and bench presses and what's commercial grade and what's not. And so I'm just going to go downstairs and kind of go over some of the equipment that I've got, and I think it'll be helpful to everybody out there that's interested in purchasing equipment for their home. I wanted to make this video for the guys who are kind of wondering exactly what I do have here in my gym, and the guys that are buying equipment for their homes. I want to give them a few tips, explain a little bit about proper equipment. One of the things that I did want to explain was that, you know, and I said this in videos last year. I know I'm repeating myself, but we've got a lot of new people watching these videos. So an Olympic bar, the sleeves on an Olympic bar must rotate, okay, freely, so that the plates can balance. If you're squatting and the plates cannot rotate and balance, the bar is going to move you. You're going to fall, you're going to have a shoulder injury, something's going to happen. Same way in a bench press, the bar is going to cause a shoulder injury, or it's going to fall out of your hands and fall on you. So it's very important, again, in the deadlift, the bar is going to simply, you know, roll out of your hands. So these collars or these sleeves must move, rotate freely, and that's why it's so important when you go to these commercial gyms to check to see if the bars are serviced and that the sleeves are moving freely. This is the center knurling on my California Power Bar. And the difference between this and a regular bar is this is extra deep. This knurling was cut extra deep. I call it my bleeder bar. I had it made for deadlifting specifically, and it's much easier to hold on to, but you do have to get used to it. The average person will not be able to lift with this bar because it's very painful to the hands. Now, if I go to a commercial gym for 6 to 12 months and come back here in my basement and try and use this bar, it's going to be very difficult for me too. But over time, you know, you build up your calluses and you don't have any pain anymore. But also remember, over time, your calluses build up to the point where you do need to trim them. Otherwise, they will tear under heavy weight, and they will actually tear into the actual live skin, and then it's going to take a long time to heal. You won't even be able to use your hand to grip a knurled bar. Now, this is the Reflex Fitness Products bench press, and what's different about this bench press is that it has such a large surface area on its spotter's platform back here. You're not struggling to avoid the lifter's head. There's plenty of room there to spread your feet, and it is a brushed aluminum surface. The uprights, as you can see, are slanted towards the lifter, so that when the lifter comes back in an arc, he or she will not hit these uprights. Now the backstops here are extremely tall because in the past lifters have actually missed the upright and thrown the bar back over the back of the bench, and this prevents that from happening. That's another added feature. As you can see, this is 2x3 steel. This bench is extremely heavy. One man is not going to move this bench around. It takes two people to move this bench, and it is, I don't know what they run now, but back in 1992, these were $350, so they're probably quite a bit of money now. Now this is the Reflex Fitness Products squat rack, a true squat rack. And these pegs are actually nickel plated. This is not available anymore, this nickel plating. And then we have the optional safety racks here. I've got them bolted in for my personal use. Some people like them, some people don't. This is extremely heavy. It's extremely heavy to lift. And as you can see, there is no mirror here, because when you have a mirror, you look at yourself in the mirror, you tend to look down and you go over forwards. I've got, between the bench and the wall, I've got a brick on each of these uprights so it doesn't damage the wall when I actually rack the weight. So this is, again, these are 2x2s here. I don't have any 2x3 steel on this piece, but now this is extremely sturdy. This is a 2x2 tubular steel, and it's a very high quality squat rack. It is a commercial grade squat rack. Now this is a standard barbell, 45-pound Olympic plate. It's iron and it's poured. And what's unique about the plate is that it has a bevel on the inside of the plate, and if you look at the rear of the plate, it has a bevel as well. And this allows the plates to lock together to a degree. They move independently across these bevels to find their balance, which is what you want. But I have found that these are very, very close to being 45 pounds. They may not be perfect, but within, you know, a fourth of a pound maybe. So that they're pretty good for a poured plate. And they do appear to be machined a little bit if you look at them closely on the back side, but basically they are a poured plate. And back in 1992, I can tell you these were $1.10 a pound, so I don't know what they sell for now. They're not cheap, but again, these will last a lifetime. Just to give you an idea of how close these poured plates actually are, how good they actually are. Greg Gordon, when he had his gym, he had the same plates, and he actually used a regular drill with a steel bit, and he would just, you know, drill out maybe that deep on one of these plates to get it to be perfect. So that's not much, you know, you're not drilling out much metal. So they're pretty darn close, and it's very impressive to me that they can be a poured plate and be that close, and be that accurate. Now this is my bar lifter, or my lever, and this is one of the larger ones, and it's one of the heavier, more sturdy ones. This is not going to break, this is not going to bend. This is 1x1, and it looks like 1x2 tubular steel, and it is wider so that the bar doesn't tip if there's more weight on one side than on another. So I mean, you can have 3 plates on one side and nothing on the other side, and it's balanced. It's not going to go anywhere. So that's what's great about this particular bar lifter. This is one of the more expensive bar lifters. Back in '92, it was $150. So this is, if you're going to be a deadlifter, you got to have one of these. Believe me, you try to put 5-pound plates under your 45-pound plates to load, you're going to wear yourself out loading and unloading. So this is a must, and it's, you know, it's not in the big scheme of things. It's not a lot of money. It's a small part of your investment. Now this is the chalk bowl, and this is a Mike Raya special. I made this up myself. This is a bar stool with the seat taken off, and a old wash basin which has been painted to hold the chalk. So you don't have, you know, you got your suit on, you got your belt on, you got your straps up, you don't want to bend over. You may not be able to bend over to get some chalk, so you know, you can stand here and just put your hand in the chalk bowl, and you know, it contains the mess too. You know, you don't have chalk all over your gym. So this is one of those very inexpensive pieces of equipment for your gym, but as a powerlifter, it's really nice to have. I will say you have to have one. Now I know that all you guys and gals out there know what a a spring collar is. And these have been around for a few years now, and there was a time when they were uncommon. And they do tend to be different pair to pair. And of course, all these cheap bars in these commercial gyms, they're not always the same diameter, or they're not always the proper diameter. So these things can slide on you. You know, especially if you've got heavy weight and you're doing a squat, it can be dangerous. Now, in the old days, when you ordered an Olympic set, you got a spin collar. And even the commercial gym would order their plates in sets. You get the bar and the plate. So for my gym, I think I ordered 8 or 9 sets, you know, of 310 pound sets. Now, the way these work is, now these are 2.5 kilograms. So you have to take that into consideration when you're calculating your weight. But you would slide this on this way. If you were on the right side of the Olympic bar, you would tighten these little butterfly screws down, and then you would take the spin portion of the spin collar and tighten that against the plates. So your plates would be tight, yet they could balance, yet they weren't that tight. You could tighten them down too tight, and everybody knew that. An experienced loader knew that. But so, you know, if you were in a powerlifting competition, you would have a loading chart. Usually you would have, in a bigger competition, you would have a platform manager and a head referee. They would both have the loading chart, and they would yell out. Usually the head referee would tell the loaders what weight was needed. And those loading charts would take into consideration that you were using 2.5 kilogram spin collars. Now this is a Diamondback rubber mat, and it's not really all that thick. It's probably 1/4 of an inch thick, but it's extremely hard and compressed. These mats weigh, they're 3x6 and they weigh 80 pounds a piece. So as you can see, I've got a concrete floor down here in the basement, and I can deadlift any amount of weight and drop it on these mats, and it will not break this concrete. Let me show you. This is a 35-pound plate, and as you can see, there's no way that's going to harm that floor. Now this equipment is typically not in stock. You have to order this type of equipment. It takes 6+ weeks to build these pieces, and sometimes longer depending on how many orders they have. And I think I probably got, in today's prices, somewhere in the neighborhood of $4,000 down there. I think I've got 950 pounds total in plates, 45s plus the smaller plates. So it's just food for thought, kind of give you a little idea of what to look for as far as quality and features in the equipment. You know, I would definitely spend the extra money and go with the commercial grade equipment. This stuff's, you know, I'm not going to outlive it. It's going to be here, you know, 100 years from now, after I've died. I mean, it's indestructible, you know. The only thing you ever have to change is the pad on the bench press if you crack the pad over time. But this is all from Reflex Fitness Products, and they're located in Milan, Illinois. And you might want to contact Mike Adolphson. He's one of the owners, and he's the one that handles all the sales. So, good luck.